Of course, with Scenic, everything is included. So a great example of how this works is in the city of Vienna. Vienna, world famous for their classical concert experiences, and of course, we have decided to include that for all of our guests to enjoy. So you'll actually be taken over to the Palais Liechtenstein, greeted with a glass of Austrian wine, and go upstairs for your concert performance. Now, I'm sure many of you have taken optional tours before, and you'll know that usually you show up at those venues, and there's probably 2 or 3 other tour groups that happen to be there at the same time, there to enjoy that experience with you as well. Well, what you're going to find out is that when you get to the Palais Liechtenstein, it's actually closed to the public and all other tour groups. It's exclusive just for our guests to enjoy, again, keeping with that 5-star experience you are having on board your Scenic River Cruise ship. Now, each and every season, of course, our product designers take all of the feedback from our guests, and they really look to see where they can do to further enhance the program each and every season. And one of the newest Scenic and Rich experiences is in the city of Salzburg. Now, Salzburg is a beautiful city, of course, home for us to 2 very famous things. It's home to Mozart, and it's home to the Sound of Music. Now, how many of you in the room have been to Salzburg before? Perfect, so you can all back me up on this little story. So, when you look around this very beautiful city, I can guarantee for those of you who have not been there, you are going to see something to do with Mozart, whether that's Mozart sheet music, Mozart chocolates, Mozart hats, Mozart cups, Mozart pens. You're going to see Mozart absolutely everywhere you look, folks. However, if you look around this same beautiful city, I'm afraid you're not going to see anything to do with the Sound of Music. And that, quite simply, is because the people of Salzburg, well, they hate the Sound of Music. They want nothing to do with that movie. So, we know that when our guests go over, they want that full experience. So that was the design behind our newest Scenic and Rich experience, where we take you around on a beautiful tour of the city. You learn about the importance that Mozart had on Salzburg, and we're also going to take you to a number of the movie sets where the film was made, as well as a recreation of the Sound of Music put on just for our guests. Now, we have the most enthusiastic guide leading each and every one of these tours. Her name is Eva. She is a very good friend, and she will be dressed in her full Drindle outfit. And yes, when she takes you folks to that famous gazebo scene, she is going to pull out a boombox from somewhere. She's going to lay down sheet music, and she is all going to have you sing, "I Am 16, or she will not continue her tour. So, in this next little video, though, is going to tell you just about a number of our other Scenic and Rich experiences we have, because each and every one of our cruises has at least one Scenic and Rich experience.
At Scenic, we know that once-in-a-lifetime experiences are made up of unforgettable moments that enrich you. So on every Scenic River cruise, we have meticulously planned extraordinary events, and we have gained privileged access to some of the most spectacular locations across Europe. These experiences are called Scenic and Rich. Step back in time for a night of medieval entertainment at the spectacular 12th century Marksburg Castle. Be invited into one of Vienna's grandest residences, the Palais Liechtenstein, and delight in an unforgettable evening of music, opera, and ballet. The oldest Baroque residence in the Upper Rhine, Verstade Palace, is the setting for a superb classical concert in the opulent ballroom. In the south of France, be treated to an exceptional gala event at Palais de Pape in Avignon, all included when you cruise with Scenic. Exclusive and created just for you.
So folks, before we get into all of the itineraries, now that you've learned about all of the different options we have that are all included in your program, for all of you who've ocean cruised before, I always like to ask a follow-up question at this point, and that is, how many of you came off of your ocean cruise with a 0 charge on your shipboard charge card at the end? Not seeing any hands up anymore. Well, I can tell you folks, about 94% of our guests are doing exactly that. They come off of a 2-week river cruise with a 0 charge on their shipboard charge card. So again, something new for all of you to experience.
So when you look at the map over here, you'll see that Scenic sails mostly all over Europe. So we're on the Rhine, the Main, the Rhone, the Saône, the Douro in the France, and as well in the region of Russia. I'm going to take you to a few different itinerary. However, we're not going to go through all the itinerary, but if there's any itinerary that we haven't gone through, you can just open your brochure and find the itinerary that you want, and just ask one of your agents about one of these itineraries. The first itinerary, which is the Jewel of Europe, this one is really popular, and especially for the people who've never been on a river cruise, it's a really great introduction for river cruising. It's a 15 days, Amsterdam all the way to Budapest, And you can either start your cruise in Amsterdam or you can also start your cruise in Budapest, because we always have ships that goes both ways. What I really like about this itinerary is actually in the city of Amsterdam, also Vienna and Budapest, is we're going to spend a full day and an overnight in these cities, because we know that these cities are very big. You wanted to see most of the city, so we're going to spend a little bit more time. So what I always say, you know, you can go in the morning after the breakfast, you go enjoy your sightseeing of your city tour, you come back for lunch. In the afternoon, you take your tailor-made, go enjoy the city by on your own, discover the city on your own. Then you come back for dinner, and after dinner, why not to have a nice walk into the city and discover the city by night. So it's a really, really great itinerary, you know, if you wanted to make an introduction to the river cruise. Another great itinerary, which is another 15 days as well, is the romantic Rhine and Moselle. So it starts again in Amsterdam. So sorry. From Amsterdam, you'll be going to the lowland over here, spending one day in the city of Bruges, sailing back all the way to the Rhine Gorge. Again, the Rhine Gorge, very famous for all these castles. You'll probably have the chance to see about 20 castles. Then you'll be sailing a little time on the Moselle River. The Moselle River is actually one of the most beautiful rivers in Europe. And it's very quiet, not as much traffic on the Rhine and the Danube as well, so it's a really great experience. And then you're sailing all the way to Bressac, having an experience in the Black Forest, and finishing your cruise in the city of Basel. And then we will transfer you to Zurich to have your flight back home. In each itinerary, we always offer to extend your stay. So if you wanted to start a few days before, or if you wanted to spend a few days after your cruise, we have partnership with many, many hotels. And just to remind you, Scenic has been existing for 30 years now, and we start as a coach tour, and we have coach tour all around the globe as today. So we do have a lot of land extension always available, no matter what the destination you're going. Sometimes, were you going to say something?
That's okay.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't have 15 days, we only wanted to take a shorter cruise. So Iconic of Danube is also a great itinerary. Flying into Munich, from Munich we will transfer you to the city of Passau, and then you'll be sailing all the 7 days, all the way down to Budapest. One of the highlights of this itinerary is actually in the city of Milk. In the morning, you'll go and visit the Milk Abbey, but if you come back on time at 12, because the ship sets sail at 12 o'clock, we offer a bicycle ride with a tour guide from Milk all the way to Dürnstein, and it's only 32 kilometers. I know now you're going to tell me 32 kilometers, are you crazy? It's a long ride. But don't forget, we have the e-bike, so you have no effort at all to do in this excursion. It's a really great experience because you're going to go riding along the Danube and you're passing all through the vineyards. So it's just a magical. So it's about 2 hours ride, but we're going on a low pace. It's a very easy ride, and then you'll arrive in Dürnstein 2 hours later. We'll take questions at the end. Sorry. After that, you spend the full day at Vienna and then finishing your cruise in Budapest. So that's one of a very great itinerary as well. Gems of the Danube, very similar itinerary. Instead of flying into Munich, you're flying into Nuremberg, and then you'll be sailing again 7 days on the Danube, going to Passau, spending the full day in Salzburg, as Neil mentioned, to see Sounds of Music and Mozart, and then all the way down to Budapest. But there's also something you can add on this actually itinerary. Is in your brochure you're going to see that there's an itinerary called Gems of the Danube with Prague. So a lot of time people want to do the 7 days on the Danube, and they would also like to see the city of Prague. So very easy, we can either start or add 3 days before to Prague or at the end of your trip, and then you have a nice 10 days itinerary also in that area. You want to go? Or?
Sure. I will also tell you about something else this is a slide. See, she threw me off though. There is also something else. Yes, river cruising fills up extremely quickly, as all of the agents in the room will tell you, but coming in 2020 is also something that only happens every 10 years. It's called the Passion Play. I don't know whether any of you are familiar with that. It happens in the German town of Oberammergau. This has been going on for over 900 years, and this is something we are actually talking to you about now because we have already started pre-registering for any guests who would like to go see the Passion Play in 2020. It will be combined in with a smaller version of our coach tours and combinable with some of our river cruises. So you'll see information on that on our website now. The reason we are talking about it, even though it is almost 3 years away, is because every year it sells out more than 2 years in advance. So if it's ever anything that you've been interested in, please sit with your agent, go check on our website. There's lots of great information. We're going to have reserved seats as well as tied into some of our coach and land tours. Now, some of our additional cruises that we didn't go through in detail, of course, that you will find in the brochure for anybody who's actually gone from Amsterdam to Budapest before. It's a great way to finish off the run going from Budapest down to Bucharest on the eastern part of Europe. Now, if you have a bit more time, you can actually travel all the way from the North Sea in Amsterdam all the way down to the Black Sea. It's a 24-day experience that we have. We do this a few times in the season as well, as also our Dutch sites and the Belgian delights, which really highlights that famous tulip time season in the Netherlands and in Belgium. We've got those for a few cruises towards the end of April as well as the beginning of May. And you'll see an entire section dedicated to Christmas cruises. And I will tell you, this is something extremely popular and really something that only Europe can do upright. You, of course, would go either late November, early December. We've got 8 and 15-day experiences on some of our different rivers. Now, the Christmas markets are something very unique to Europe. So you'll get all of the great sites on our regular cruises, plus each and every port has their own unique Christmas market. Now, the first time I did the Christmas markets, I just assumed that every single city would have the same market repeated over and over, just like we would have back here. However, I discovered that that was definitely not the case. Of course, I went and did all my shopping in the first port of call, only to find out the next 14 all had extremely different shops with lots of different things for you to buy. So I ended up buying a second suitcase. So that is my warning to you now. Spread your shopping out over the period, but it's a spectacular experience, and you can have the entire look at our Christmas cruise section in the brochure.
Also, in France, we are selling in 3 different regions. On the Seine, in the region of Bordeaux, and as well in the south of France. So the first itinerary is the spectacular south of France. So it's 12 days on the Rhone and the Saône. You can maybe start your journey in Paris, and then you'll transfer you all the way from Paris. We can transfer you by TGV to Chalon-sur-Saône, embarking the ship over there, and then sailing all the 12 days on the river, the Rhine and the Saône. The Rhone and the Saône. When you arrive in Avignon, it's really great. That's where you're going to have your great scenic and rich experience with your private dinner at the Palais de Pape of Avignon and your private concert. And as well in Lyon, we're going to spend a full day in Lyon and an overnight as well. So it gives you a lot of time to discover Lyon. When you finish the cruise at Arles, we will transfer you to Nice where you'll fly back. Also, Normandy Gen of the Seine, it's actually 10 days. It's in and out from Paris. If you like anything about World War I and World War II, it's a really great itinerary with a lot of history. So starting your cruise in the city of Paris, sailing. When you stop in Vernon, you'll have the chance to visit the House of Monet. Then you'll go and sail all the way to Rouen. Usually, most of all the river cruise company, they have to stop in Rouen because after Rouen, the river really gets much narrow and the ships can make it all the way to Honfleur. But because our ship is much smaller than all the other ships, so it's only 112 passengers, we are able to go all the way to Honfleur, and we're going to spend 2 days in Honfleur, and it's really great because you're very close to the area where you're going to be able to see all the different beaches, depending where you're from. We will divide the people in different groups, so for the people, the U.S. people will go see the U.S. beach area, and same thing for the Canadians. So it's a really great itinerary for 10 days also. And then, of course, we can't miss on Bordeaux. Of course, Bordeaux very famous for gastronomy and also very famous all for their vineyards and wine. So we're offering a 10-day sailing on 3 different rivers. So Bordeaux, very bicycle friendly as well, very easy to walk around, so great city to discover. We're gonna bring you to some different vineyards like Sauternes, Saint-Émilion, Médoc, which are the most famous vineyards in France. We're even bringing you to the region of Cognac, where you'll be even able to taste some of the best great cognac in the world. And as I always say, you know what, for especially on this itinerary, I always remind you, please bring your tailor-made with you all the time, because you do a lot of wine tasting, so if you want to make your way back to the ship. But really, Bordeaux is a great as well itinerary. And also, as we actually introduced in 2017 a new program as well. So on top of Scenic Free Choice, Scenic Enrich, we now have introduced Scenic Culinaire. So Scenic Culinaire is offered on the cruise of Bordeaux and south of France, and it's really like an experience where you're going to interact with the chef. So, for example, you're probably going to go in the morning. It's a little excursion that you're going to do with the chef. Go pick up some local product that you're going to bring back on the ship, and in the afternoon you'll have the chance to cook the dishes and have an interactive experience with the chef. So you're going to cook like a local dish from the area. So really great new program as well that we offer.
3 French rivers that wind their way through thousands of years of history, through a myriad of cultural influence, through landscapes immortalised in art, and each through the heart of a different region of France. Each river with its own personality. These ancient highways create the itineraries for 3 unforgettable scenic river cruises. The relaxed pace of our cruise has been expertly crafted to ensure you discover the incredible cities, towns and villages of France. Your home on the rivers is aboard a luxury scenic spaceship, featuring suites with private balconies and scenic sun lounges so you can watch the landscapes drift past, and personal butlers to take care of your every need. In France, food is always at the forefront, and on board is no exception, with a collection of gourmet experiences, including fine dining French cuisine at L'Amour and our signature degustation at Table La Rive. Our first journey is through the majestic south of France, along the Saône and Rhône rivers. From the leafy vineyards and rich flavours of the Burgundy wine region, through fragrant fields of lavender, and onto Arles near the Mediterranean Sea. Watch the day come to an end, enjoying scenic sundowners at Toulon Castle. Dine and be entertained at the Palais de Pape in Avignon. You can also explore the historic north of France along the same river, from Paris to the English Channel, from Joan of Arc to Richard the Lionheart, the Battle of the Somme to the D-Day landings. The events of this area have sculpted history, but also inspired the canvases of Monet and Van Gogh. Our 3rd river cruise is a wine lover's delight through the waterways of Bordeaux. This area is filled with Gothic churches, historic villages and towns, castles, natural wonders, and the spectacular city of Bordeaux. But it is the wine that made Bordeaux famous, and Scenic gets you privileged access to a number of the best chateaux and vineyards in the area. These 3 unforgettable cruising experiences will leave a piece of France with you forever. Cruising the rivers of France in all-inclusive luxury.
And also in the last few years, I don't know if some of you know, but Portugal has become very, very famous and popular. And we added, in 2016, we added a new itinerary, so we're sailing now on the Douro. But probably the reason why Portugal is still it's actually very popular, it's probably because it's still one of the very affordable region in Europe. But we offered a great 10 days. It's in and out from the city of Douro. You'll be sailing 10 days on the Douro all the way to Vega de Teheran. When you arrive in Vega de Teheran, we'll offer you to have a great free choice day in Salamanca. So we will transfer you. You'll spend a full day in the city of Salamanca in Spain. Great, great experience as well. And then we'll sail it all the way back to the different small town. I don't know if some of you have remembered drinking Matthias rosé wine in the past. So you remember the ladies would not throw the bottle, will keep the bottle, put a candle on it, you know, and use it as like a candle holder. So we stop in the city of Regal, where you're gonna have the chance to go at the Matthias Palace. So it's actually my highlights on that itinerary, but really great experience as well. So the 10 days on the Douro is actually also, you can also do like 3 days in Lisbon if you want, do the 10 days and even add 2 days in Madrid, so it gives you a real nice 15 days itinerary. The only thing I'm gonna tell you about the Portugal is the ship that sails on the Douro, it's called the Scenic Azure. It's an only 96 passengers, so it's much smaller, it's very limited. And Portugal for 2017 got sold out like 8 months in advance. The 2018 season, it's almost at 60% sold out. If you want to go to the Douro, you have to at least make a reservation 12 to 18 months in advance. But really, it's great, beautiful scenery, a lot of valley vineyards selling all the way through the vineyards, so it's really, really a great itinerary.
So we're going to move slightly outside of Europe to a couple of other areas which are also very good for river cruising. The first one being the country of Russia. Now, in 2012, we actually brought our own ship called the Scenic Tsar over in to sail along the Volga River. Now, it's a great 15-day experience that you'll actually sail between Moscow and St. Petersburg. But a couple of unique things about this program. We know that when guests go over to Russia, they're going to want to spend a few extra days in both Moscow and St. Petersburg. So that is the way the itinerary has been built. You'll actually do 3 nights in Moscow, 3 nights in St. Petersburg, and you'll use the ship as your floating hotel, doing all of your tours from the ship that is docked in the heart of these cities. Then it's an 8-day cruise along the Volga River. Now, it's a bit of a smaller ship, only 112 guests again, and 93% of the suites, again, have private outdoor balconies. Now, we have been saying throughout this whole presentation that Scenic is all-inclusive. And that is the way we started in Russia until we found out that there's an extra little law that we were not aware of. And that is basically that you cannot actually operate a tour with unlimited alcohol to the guests. I would have thought it would have been the other way in Russia personally, but that is actually not the case. So we are allowed to provide you unlimited drinks at lunch and dinner. So that is just the one thing to keep in mind. However, we have a great product team, and they did a bit of research and found a little loophole in that law, and it actually allows us to provide you with free vodka tastings throughout the day, so we will supplement when you are needing those little boosts as well, folks. So you will find the Russia program in our brochure as well. Now I'm going to move slightly outside of continental Europe, down into Southeast Asia, and this is an amazing area as well for river cruising, because down in these regions along the Mekong River and the Irrawaddy River, their entire lifestyle and culture is truly built around the river. So in 2016, we actually built our own ships, brought them into these regions. On the Mekong, we have the Scenic Spirit, has 68 guests on board, while over on the Irrawaddy, the Scenic Aura has 44 guests. Now the ships, again, are very similar looks to our European ships, the same modern contemporary design, but with a bit more space because we don't have the same low bridges or locks to go through. So, as you can see here, this is the main lounge, again with the modern contemporary look, of course, the bars on board. Both of these ships actually have a pool with an indoor-outdoor decked area and an alfresco dining area for you as well. And of course, we have multiple dining rooms, just like on our European ships. You've got the main crystal dining room, you've got the river cafe, and you've actually got a full-service teppanyaki bar, as well as that alfresco dining in and around the pool area. So again, lots of great options on both of these ships as well. Now on these ships, no matter which one you actually sail on, everybody gets a Scenic Sun Lounge balcony suite because neither of these ships have any staterooms. Now the smallest suite is over on the Aura at 258 square feet, while over on the Scenic Spirit it is 344 square feet. That is larger than our Royal Suites on the European ships, so of course everybody is cruising in true Royal fashion. Now if you do want to step up and go to the Grand Deluxe Suites, not a problem. These are 430 square feet, or of course you can go with the Royal Suites on these ships, which are upwards to 861 square feet, with their own private plunge pool and jacuzzi on the deck for you to enjoy. Folks, this is larger than my condo in downtown Toronto, so you will be in true comfort and style the entire way. Now, there is a reason we actually built these ships with a bit of a larger space to both the suites as well as the areas, and that's because you're actually spending a bit more time on board. You're actually going through floating villages, floating markets, floating schools, things that you can only see from the ship. So because you're spending a bit more time on board, we want to provide you with a bit more space and comfort while you are down there. Now the base program over on the Mekong, it's an 8-day, 7-night experience between Ho Chi Minh City and Siem Reap, but of course, most of the people will take our 13-day program, which allows you to do a couple of nights in Ho Chi Minh City and a few nights in Siem Reap at the end. Now, there's lots of other great areas in this region that you could see, and we offer programs all the way up to 24 days in length, which would include stops up to Hanoi, Halong Bay, even going over into the country of Laos. So all sorts of areas for you to enjoy down in this area. Over in Myanmar on the Irrawaddy River, this is an 11-day, 10-night sailing between Yangon and Mandalay, and again, you'll find programs from 11 days up to 18 days if you want to spend some extra time in those cities, or go over to other areas like Inle Lake, or even if you'd like to combine both the Irrawaddy and the Mekong, we even have a couple of those dates which you could tie in as well, because again, totally different experiences in both of these parts of the world. Now, if you do have any interest in Southeast Asia, it is in its own standalone brochure. We did not put that in your bags, but there will be some copies on the table as you leave. So if you are interested, please make sure to grab one of those, and you can learn all about our different cruise options we have down in this great part of the world. Now, I'm going to move slightly outside of the river cruising realm just for a few minutes' time, and that is to actually let you know what Scenic is doing in 2018. Now, each and every year, we, of course, our product designers look to see where we can bring that inclusive, flexible, scenic style to next. And in 2018, it was because of our customers' feedback that we are actually making our foray into ocean cruising, but on a very, very small scale with the Scenic Eclipse. It's the world's first discovery yacht. It's going to have 228 guests on board, so only about 50 more guests than our river cruise ships do. However, it is going to actually spend about 6 months down in the polar regions. So 3.5 months in Antarctica, 2.5 months up in the Arctic, bringing an unparalleled level of luxury into these regions with a Class 1A Super icebreaker yacht. And of course, the rest of the time it is going to cruise in various ports in and around the world, including the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, South America, as well as up through the British Isles and through the North Atlantic. Now, something to keep in mind, this ship itself does not require a full cruise port. So actually, when you're looking through the brochure, and again, separate standalone brochure, which if you are interested in learning a bit more, will be out on the table for you there, but it has some very unique cruise ports that you've never seen before in itineraries because we do not require that full cruise port. We can actually just use regular marinas and docking areas. So some very, very unique areas allowing us to get into some very remote and usually inaccessible areas from the ships as well. So just going to give you a very quick introduction to what we're bringing out in 2018.
Introducing Scenic Eclipse. The point on the map where luxury meets discovery. From the moment you step on board, you'll be surrounded by the ultimate in luxury. Akin to some of the finest hotels in the world, your suite ranges in size from 32 square meters to the luxurious 2-bedroom, 233 square meter owner's penthouse suite, each featuring their own veranda, separate bedroom with floor-to-ceiling windows. On Scenic Eclipse, our aim is to enable guests to discover a world few have ever experienced, with its own submarine to take you below the surface, and helicopters to take you beyond the horizon. 3 years in the planning, Scenic Eclipse takes ocean cruising to a completely new level in terms of technology and innovation. With sleek contours and external design that draw inspiration from a mega yacht. The inbuilt safety and comfort features ensure we can cross the most challenging oceans with ease. No matter what horizon you yearn to explore, we'll take you there. Scenic Eclipse, the world's first discovery yacht.
So that's where we are going. In August of 2018, the Scenic Eclipse will be launching. So we're very excited about that program. And of course, just like with our river cruising, lots of great early booking offers to be had with that as well that you'll find inside the brochure. Now, no matter which brochure, of course, you're looking at, after each and every itinerary, you are going to see a pricing grid much like this one. Now, first thing to note, all of our prices are in Canadian dollars, and they are based on 2 people traveling together. So when you are looking at the pricing grid, you'll see this little column here with all of the different dates, and that first column is the lead-in category stateroom. Now, when you're looking at the ship deck plans in the back of the brochure and you've decided where it is that you would like to cruise, simply come back to that page, look for your different cabin type, and look to the right, you'll find the upgrade price that you simply add to the base cost, and that is your price in Canadian dollars per person based on 2 people traveling together, port charges included. But, of course, we are out here talking about 2018 because with Scenic, folks, we guarantee the earliest you book, the best offer you are going to receive. So what are those great early booking offers? Well, we're actually pretty much focusing around the air because, of course, you need to fly to get over to join one of our cruises. So what we're actually doing for 2018 is any of our cruises that are 15 days or longer, you're actually going to get free round-trip airfare, air taxes included. If it is a shorter cruise, 8 to 14 days, it will be a specially priced airfare, usually about $4.95, again, round-trip air taxes included. Now the first question I usually get asked is after I tell people about this amazing offer, they say, well, Neil, that is great that you're giving me free airfare, but am I going to recognize the name of the airline you put me on? How many cities will I have to fly through before I eventually end up in Amsterdam? Well, I can tell you folks, we only use scheduled airline carriers. We do not use charters. We will always try to provide you with non-stop service if it is available. And we actually have cruise air contracts with every major carrier. What this means is that you can actually request an airline if you'd like to fly in a certain carrier, if you'd like to go in a few days ahead of time, stay a few days later, even if you'd like to deviate. All of these are options that can be worked in with our airfare promotions, again, allowing you to get that vacation exactly how you would like. Now, sometimes people think, well, I had enough points to fly over, so what kind of an early booking savings do I get? Not a problem. We'll actually give you a discount off of your cruise in lieu of the air promotion. So again, some great savings for you to take advantage of. Now, do you remember when you are looking in the brochure, it might say book by the end of September. Please do not wait to go in and see your agent until September 29th because these are attached to a limited, they're on every single sailing, but they have a limited capacity on each and every one. So once that gets sold out, it goes to our secondary offer. So of course we want you to get the best offer possible. So the earlier you go in to book with your agent, the more likely it is you are going to get the best offer available on that particular cruise. Now, of course, to make a booking very easy to do, you simply put down a deposit. It is non-refundable. We have a great deposit protection plan. We also encourage you to take insurance out when you're sitting with the agent. Of course, final payment's not due until 90 days prior to your cruise, but we've also got a great river cruise guarantee, which is also something for you to know about. This is all included so that if Mother Nature decides to rear her ugly head and cause a bit of a delay of any sort, you are automatically covered and compensated with a Scenic River cruise. So again, that's a great promotion for you to be aware of because, of course, that means you are going to always get your river cruise experience. Now, at this stage of the presentation, I'd like to take care of a few questions that I know we normally get asked, but we will leave a few minutes at the end for any extra ones that you may have as well. The most popular question that Caroline and I probably get asked is about the weather. People often come up and say, Neil, could you please tell me when the rainy season is over in Europe? Because I really don't think I want to book my river cruise when the rainy season is on. Folks, if I knew when the rainy season was on in Europe, I wouldn't even let you book a river cruise at that time. Unfortunately, they do not have one. You can get rain in April, August, October, but as you've learned this afternoon with those beautiful Scenic Sun Lounge balcony suites, no matter what Mother Nature may throw your way, you're going to have a spectacular river cruise experience. Now, as far as when we sail, of course, all of the dates will be found in the brochures for each and every itinerary, but when it comes to your particular sailing, there is a mix of day and overnight sailing on almost all of our cruises. Now, when we are cruising through the overnight period, we've really tried to focus this to industrial areas, farmlands, things like that, so that you're not missing out on any of the great visual highlights, like the Rhine Gorge or the Moselle Valley, for instance, which we would cruise through during the day for you to enjoy. With regards to medical facilities on the ship, there are no doctor's offices on board the ships, but all of our staff are first aid trained. Should an emergency situation arise, however, the captains know where they are at all times, can have the ships pulled over and tied up within minutes, and either have a doctor waiting to board the ships, or we make use of the nearby land-based medical facilities, so it's never a problem when you're on board a river cruise. We do like to remind again, we are fully all-inclusive, and yes, this does mean all of your tips, both on and off the ship. You never have to tip anybody on board. You never have to tip any of the local guides or any of the transfer captains. We often get asked about the dress code on the ship. Folks, it's a smart, casual environment on every single one of our cruises. There are no formal nights whatsoever. Now, I know some traditional cruisers may like to dress up for events like the Captain's Farewell Dinner, things like that. You're more than welcome to do so, but there'll be no requirements asking you to bring any such formal attire on board. Now, I know some of you are looking at me going, we just watched your presentation. I saw gentlemen in jackets and ties. I saw some ladies in some very fancy cocktail dresses. Well, folks, they knew they were going to be put on video, promoted with us for the next year or so, so they really just dressed up to impress each and every one of you. So, gentlemen, you can leave the jackets and ties at home, and ladies, you don't need to bring the fancy cocktail dresses either. Now, gentlemen, actually, if you have fancy cocktail dresses you wish to bring and wear, please do so, because we always like extra entertainment on board our ships. Now, currency, of course, we do at the front desk can assist you with any sort of currency exchange needs that you need for going off into any port of call. If you are going to spend some money on the ship, which is very limited, of course, we do have a spa and wellness area where you can get a massage or your hair done. Or if you like to buy something in the gift shop, those prices on board would be in euros. Finally, with regards to smoking, it is a non-smoking vessel in all public and private areas. So yes, this does include your outdoor balconies. If you are a smoker, there are areas on the top open air deck which are designated for smoking. Otherwise, the rest of the ship, balconies included, are non-smoking. Now finally, in addition to the brochure, you would have also been given inside your bag 2 of these lovely little vouchers, and this is a thank you for coming out and spending the hour with us this afternoon, actually entitling you to another $250 off per couple, in addition to any of the early booking savings you make on any 2018 sailings. So you will find that inside your bag, but we also thought we'd give away a little door prize. So if you'd actually like to pull out those vouchers, on someone's voucher there's going to be a little yellow sticker, and we're